Hello, everyone. Hope everybody's doing well. In your chat feature, if you don't mind chatting that you can hear me to make sure that I'm broadcasting and we can see you. So if you don't mind, we love to see if you can hear me. So I can't see the chat feature. Hold on. Let me look. Okay, sorry, I still can't see anything. Just looking. When I started my webinar, the chat feature went away.
We can see it, Jeff. We'll let you know.
Awesome. There you go. Okay, I'm just going to keep going. If you guys can see the chat feature, and I'll just go ahead and start the presentation. Okay, good. Thanks everyone for attending. We hope everybody's doing okay. On the call today, we have Jessica Smith. She's our substitute teacher trainer. She's very popular with the substitutes. They love her newsletters. Maybe you get her newsletters as well, and great at rapport with the training courses that we have here at Steady and what she does with them and writing them. Kelly Stone, who you just heard a minute ago, Vice President of Client Success. She wants to make sure you're implementing everything Steady has to offer. Once a district becomes a client, there's a lot of free resources we provide, and Kelly makes sure that those are known and utilized within the district. Sam Brand, he's Vice President of Sales and Marketing. He's on the call and will chime in throughout the webinar. My name is Jeffrey Smith. I'm the President and CEO of Steady.org. I was the original founder of the Substitute Teaching Institute at Utah State University. And then about 12 years ago, we spun it off campus and became it as Steady.org under license by the university. And we're continuing the research and the services that we started while we were on campus at Utah State University. Okay, I'm going to go to launch a poll. Here we go. So, how is your toilet paper supply? And I've marked this anonymous, so you don't have to worry about people are going to know that it's you saying this. Go ahead and vote. And I don't know if I put the panelists could vote as well, but we'll leave this up for a minute. Okay, we have about 25% of the attendees responding so far, so I'll give it another 30 seconds. And we got to know how everybody's doing. This is the most important question. Those of you who say that you're a hoarder, we might send you our address and see if you'll send us some. But okay, a couple more minutes, a couple more seconds. 10 seconds to vote.
Jeff, when Rourke and I moved to Florida, we had so much toilet paper we moved with us. I had the evolution of the past 10 years of Charmin Soft.
Wow.
So I can tell you how the size had changed.
And now
got less linty.
You got it. So good for you. So now you've got plenty. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this and share the results so you can see what it is. So rationing. Yep. Well, that's the name of the game. And some of you said that's not funny. This is pretty serious. Oh, sorry to hear that. Well, anyway, okay, the next question, which is equally important. How are you at social distancing? You can check all that apply. This is a very interactive webinar, so we want to start you off in responding to these polls and some of the questions that we have posted. It is different this time. Sometimes I forget out and about. So yeah, how about 10 more seconds? We good to go?
Diane said that social distancing has been tough, but she does advise that it's what's best for everyone. Just not what we're used to, is it, Diane?
Okay, did the results show up?
I see them.
Okay, good. So let's see, the highest is easy for me. Well, that's good for you if it's easy for you. And you'll never shake hands again. I'm glad to see that. I think that's a good practice, and we hate to stay away with that kind of thing. So, all right, let's move on then. What I want to do is one of the comments from one of our participants in one of our surveys said, we'll need these substitutes next year. We've got to make sure that we're welcoming them and recognizing them. We want to keep them. So what can we do to help this year to make sure we get them coming back? So this is a must participate webinar. We want to make sure that we appreciate you sharing your poll thoughts with us, those thoughts there. We're going to ask that when there's a question, if you'll use the chat feature, the chat feature to respond. And in that, we want everybody to respond, and then we will collect them, copy them, and make them available for everyone. And so if we can just type, we'll give plenty of time, and Jessica and Kelly will have to ask if you'll don't let me go too fast or too slow, because I still can't see the chat. I'm going to have to look for those. But if you'll, when we post that, make sure you're responding to all panelists and attendees. And then once everyone is responded, we'll copy that and paste that and move on. Okay, so it's going to be we're really going to brainstorm together with this. Now, first of all, we've been doing surveys, and we've had a survey out for a couple of weeks now, and this survey that I'm going to talk about went to substitute teachers regarding the COVID-19 and their effects on it. And I've got 2 time periods, and the one on the left happens to be time period 2, which is from last Saturday through today, just this morning is when I took these results. And then the one on the right is actually time period 1. So it goes from the earliest ones on the right to the current one on the left. So as you can see, the question was, the statement was, as a substitute teacher, I am concerned to enter the schools due to COVID-19. Along the bottom, it says, it starts with the green is strongly disagree, to disagree, to strongly agree. And so as we go down the chart, the top one is strongly disagrees to strongly agrees. And you can see that the strongly agree has increased, has more than doubled the concern, if you will. So people's concern has doubled in the last 2 weeks as far as entering the school. And so that's something that we might want to take into consideration. And I think we're all that way. And so we need to recognize that substitute teachers feel that way as well. And the reason we're talking about this is, as we talk about recognizing, can we address some of these issues? Can we help them overcome some of their concerns and that kind of thing? So as
Jeff,
we talk about that, this is what we want to do.
Oh, well, it was asked, how the survey had gone out. It looks like Jessica's answering on the chat, but in case others are wondering about that, they were wondering about when it went out and who got it.
So yeah, the survey, we've done some sampling surveys. I think the current questionnaire that it's the same questionnaire that's going out, and we just compare the time periods, but it is gone out to those that are on our list. We have 121,000 substitute teachers on our list, and so we communicate with them. They're from all across the country. I think the earlier time period, the March 13th through the 16th, we probably had about 300, 400 responding to that one, and the current one is about 300 right now. The responses for the and so it's a small sample, but I think it's relative as far as countrywide what's going on. Hit the next question: how has your behavior changed recently due to the announcement of COVID-19? And we said check all that apply. And as you can see, the top one is business as usual, and then glad for a break. The longest one, 60%. Now this is on the current time period 2, is I'll be subbing once again when school's open. Notice it went from 48.4 to 60, and so I think as time's going on, they're planning more to come back, which is a good thing. That's and these who've responded, which was a good thing. That's why we wanted to share this with that. Are you currently being paid? And we didn't say is the district paying you. Are you currently being paid? And 75% said no. 25% said yes of those substitutes who responded. Next question, I'm okay financially if school's closed for the next 6 weeks. And the first time period in March, notice that there were the top one strongly disagree. And so at the beginning, they were saying 25% said, I strongly disagree that I'll be financially okay. In the current recent one that ended today, that it goes through today, it dropped to 18.9 or 19%. So it's dropped some 6% that strongly disagree that their finances will be okay. So that means that they're more comfortable with their finances than they were 2 weeks ago, which is interesting. And so maybe at first they were a little fearful and not, it hasn't gone completely away, but maybe they're not quite as concerned financially. These slides, if you haven't already downloaded them from steady.org/webinars, and you can get those. But at the end of the webinar, we'll post all the results plus the recording there, so you can get that and look at that if you'd like to have some of these. Are you looking for other employment opportunities? Check all that apply. And so on the right, it was 65% 2 weeks ago. Now it's 59%, so lesser looking. And the other, which is the very bottom one, and most of them just kind of said, well, I will soon, or they were just making comments of something above. They just happened to make a comment about it. Some were going to be work for census and different things like that, tutoring, and they just didn't want. But you can kind of see that how they are looking, if they are looking for other employment, which is a good thing if they're less are looking. Have you applied for unemployment? This is currently, I just took the second time period, and nearly 20% said yes, they have filed for unemployment, and 62% no. 18% said that no, but they plan to apply for unemployment. Okay, as a reminder, I'm going to go through some next questions for you, and if you will respond to them, and remember to reply to all so everybody gets that, and then we can see that and copy that and paste it down. So how are you as a district handling unemployment claims? So how are you doing? What's your policy? Are you challenging everyone? Or you're doing, what are you doing? So if you don't mind, I'm going to give you about 45 seconds to do this, and I'm going to look for my chat, see what I can do. Okay, so if you don't mind.
And if you put something in the chat and Jeff doesn't see it, I'll tell
Okay.
what it says.
Great.
It looks like one HR department's handling these as they're coming in, and it is a little overwhelming at times for the department. I guess there's a lot of unemployment claims. One is paying the guest teachers while they distance learn. All their people and guest teachers included. That's good. One district hasn't had very many from the substitutes. All the full-time employees are being paid while they're closed. Another district, any per diem subs who apply for unemployment are not being challenged on that unemployment. Another one, they're accepting claims unless they've not worked in the last couple months. Here's one that all long-term subs who are in assignments are continuing to be paid. Another one, they're not challenging the unemployment for some. Another one, they're handling as they come. They're paying our subs through April 30th, whose jobs were canceled. Another one that they're not challenging and are paying the long-term subs. One, haven't received any claims yet, but not planning on challenging them. Another one, long-term subs are continuing to be paid, all others being referred to a workforce. Another, we're responding to them, but indicating that work isn't available. And any long-term subs who are acting as a teacher on record are going to get paid. There's one, the guest teachers can apply for unemployment, and then the HR department handles that as they come in. Oh, and there's a question about what a per diem sub is.
Per diem is a day-to-day substitute.
Day-to-day, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to give the wrong answer.
Yeah. Okay, good. Those are good.
It looks like others here, there's a lot of answers. So continuing to pay long-term subs. Other subs were informed that they could apply for unemployment and they're accepting claims. Long-term subs being paid, completing forms that are submitted, paying all permanent employees. Others were accepting unemployment as we get them, not challenging them, and paying the long-term ones. So it sounds like there's a lot of the same going on. We're definitely paying those long-term subs who in many cases may still be working for you, and handling the distance learning with the students, but then also, to not challenge the claims as they come in.
Right. Good. And see, this is good. And I think when we share these, you'll be able to read them all. And so that's awesome.
Yeah. This is different, that people were being compensated for canceled assignments. So if somebody had already planned on working, they're being compensated for that.
Good. Okay. So when you get these, you can review these and see if there's anything that you want to do differently. And so you can talk about it with your sub-task force. Next question, are you paying your substitutes during school closures? If so, what criteria is being used? And now I found my chat, and so I can watch. So let's give 45 seconds here. So are you paying your substitutes? Yes, no, comma. This is the criteria.
I guess a lot of the answers we just had were
with this.
Yeah, answering that question,
Okay.
So some of you may have already answered that.
Just long term. What did Twila say yesterday when we talked to them? Remember?
They were paying 50%, paying their subs half of their rate of pay because they want them to come back next year. Another district did, if the sub during the school year had worked over 100 days, then they were compensated for the rest of the year.
Good.
And I guess with Twila, sorry to jump in again, with Twila, it was like average of 2 weeks, and then it was half of their last 2 weeks average.
Yeah, Jess, do you mind typing that up so it's in the notes? That's good.
I see that we had one answer that they were paying all the subs an average of what they earned in the January and February pay periods. I think that's a good way to go. You're not paying them regular pay per se, but you're paying them kind of what they would have earned based on the last 2 months that they worked.
Okay. Next question. We good to go? You can always, if you haven't finished typing, you can finish typing it in and we'll just get it there in the notes. If no compensation is being given, are any districts providing any type of stipend or other allowance? And maybe we've talked about that. If there's anything else that, if it's not just pay, if it's something else. I don't see any coming in, so maybe nothing, no other, wait a minute, no. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. So, all right. Okay. Next question. We really appreciate your comments here. I think this is very helpful. This is as close to we can get in if we're meeting face to face in a workroom, so we can all talk at once, as opposed to listening to everybody. We can all type, so that's good. What type of communication is being provided to substitute teachers? And this relates to during the shutdown. What's happening? What are you doing to communicate with your substitutes? This would be, are you providing an email, talking to them? They're not logging into their automated system now, so they're not getting updates that way. Okay, but you can see those there. So we're just waiting for those that are maybe listening to this or recorded. If you look at the handout that goes with it, under that question, you can read some of the comments that are being given there.
I noticed that one of the comments was that they send out the same communication that's going to their regular staff and employees. I think that that's really nice because that makes the substitutes feel part of that staff.
Good. Great. Okay. How are districts keeping substitutes at ease during this crisis? These questions came from one of those who've registered. So these are good questions. So we just post them out there as the questions were given. So good. So just answering their questions as they arise, return phone calls, that's good.
Yeah, with some of the comments that we've received from substitutes is they feel left out. So it's really good to hear those of you that say that you are including them, in your emails, that you are contacting them, and hopefully some of the things that we're talking about today will give you other ideas about how you can, help to, make this an easier thing. And of course, the long-term benefit of all this is that we hope that they'll be ready to come back to work for you when this is all over. That's part of why we want you to keep that communication open with them.
I have another comment on this. The other great thing about the commenting that you all are doing is that we're able to get a copy of all these, and we can send it out to you in the hopes that some other district may have an idea that you didn't think about that could help you, improve your communication, your efforts with your substitutes. So this will be going back out to you all as well for that purpose.
Good, thanks, Sam.
Jeff, can we save that chat so when they go to the webinar on our site that they'll have access to the chat?
I figured out how to do that, so it works now. We can have a copy to it all.
So we are keeping track of this. We've lost them in the past, but I'm glad Sam worked that out. So we'll make sure we capture these. All right, that's good comments there. We really appreciate this.
I kind of get the feeling that there's some offices that are smaller compared to some of them that are dealing with, a huge number of substitutes, just based on your school district size and enrollment, that it's probably easier for certain offices to have more of a one-on-one contact or interaction with a substitute as it is for some others. But I really appreciate everyone making that effort to reach out to them.
Yes.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes.
Tracy Reinbold asked a question. What is a reasonable assurance letter, as one of the attendees mentioned?
So a reasonable assurance letter, and anybody can type in if they'd like to. This is in the spring, the district can write up a letter and saying you're reasonably assured of employment in the fall. and sign this that you've got it. So the district is saying you will be hired again in the fall, and there's reasonable assurance that you will be, and then the individual can accept that. Then with that, on a normal case, that excludes people from filing for unemployment because they're given reasonable assurance that they will be hired again. And so that's what that is. And most districts implement that. If those who are on the chat, if you don't mind commenting, is that correct? Or if you want to clarify what I've said, you're welcome to type that in there to make sure. But the reasonable assurance letter is sent out usually from the district. This is a letter of intent. That is that, you know, that's another word to use that. But it has cut down on the use of unemployment or the claims against unemployment, because you've clearly stated that you will be reopening again in the fall for that, and so it gives substitutes that chance to understand that they are doing that. For example, yeah. So if anybody has a good sample that they would like to send us, email us, then we'll post that on the website too. We have some, if you don't, but it would be nice to see a recent letter. If somebody has sent one out and wants to send that to, why don't you send it to, oh, Kelly, why don't you collect them? Kelly, K-E-L-L-E-Y @steady.org, and get a copy of that. We can post that so you can see what a reasonable assurance letter or letter of intent is. Okay, good question. Thank you very much.
So it looks like there was a comment that the teachers, and this I know is a very large organization that this comment comes from, that the temporary teachers or subs are confused and feel that they can't file for unemployment. So would the answer for that be that just that somehow we, you know, they need to put out some kind of message or feedback to those substitutes to let them know that they could indeed file for unemployment? And but I imagine if you do that, you want to make sure that you're also letting them know that you know that you'll handle those claims on a case-by-case basis, or that you won't challenge them if that's what the region decides to do.
Yeah, so that, and you know, these are extraordinary times, and I think everybody's trying to be as fair and as helpful for others as possible. And so this is a question you would want to ask your administration and your legal counsel, and how you want to handle this and what you want to do, and the ramifications of not contesting it when they do come in, or how to handle this. And based on everybody's responses here, you know, you might reread these when you do work with your legal counsel and see what you would do to help with that. And these are just unusual times. And so one answer for one district might not be the same answer for another district on how that is. So if that makes any sense. Again, Kelly, do you mind putting your email out there? Why don't you type that up there, and the people can click that and get a copy of the reasonable assurance letters that are there, or the letter of intent. Okay, good. Well, I'm really grateful that you're putting in writing what you're doing, and because then and everybody can read this later and pick out what they need to. We'll be doing, I'm hoping that those that are on the call today will come again next week. We're going to be doing a webinar at least weekly, and we want, at the end of this, I'm going to ask what you want to talk about next week, so we share ideas and get more of what's other are thinking as well. So if you're thinking about what you want next week's topic to be, so we can address that. All right, the slide I have up now is, we took a lot of comments that came in on our surveys from administrators, and in asking, what are you doing to recognize substitutes? And even you might recognize a comment you posted up here. We separated those that can be done as social distance options. That's the one on the left. So you can send out gift cards without a problem. The one on the right kind of are done in person. And our intent here is to discuss how we can take some of the items on the right, sub of the month celebrations. You know, that used to happen in the district, in the school. I know some schools would give out a free lunch to their sub of the month, you know, or whatever. And that's kind of on, has to be done on site and before school closures. How can you do that now? Campus visits, how could we do that now? If it needs to be, we want to come up with as many ideas, because you might then find something that you can do, implement within your district to do that. Because you might be doing campuses provided student art. Well, that's not happening now. So what can you do? We just want to brainstorm. So does that make sense? If you see something that can be done, or if you're doing something on the left, if you'll state that and give as much explanation as you can so somebody can pick that up. If you're sending out the monthly birthday cards and emails, you know, how you're doing that, particularly if you're a larger system, what you might do, how have you been able to do that? Thank you letters, text messages and cards, and making personal phone calls. That's, is that be done with that? How can you help with those? Training and onboarding.
Oh, sorry. We had someone say they did the candy bar with a thank you.
Good, good. Jess, did you make a comment on training and onboarding earlier today with me?
Yes, I like that one district mentioned that the way they recognize and show appreciation to their substitute teachers is to continually provide training and onboarding options. When we survey substitute teachers regularly, this rises to the top continually, that they appreciate being trained and communicated with, and so providing training throughout the year and different training options for substitute teachers is a great way to recognize them.
Great. Yeah, that is a good comment. We like to hear that kind of thing, and it does work. We'll help with that. All right, there aren't as many comments coming up on this. This must be a very hard thing to address and to come up with and do that. Sometimes we don't know what to say, so we don't say anything at all. And so sometimes it's you might find just fun things to share to make light of it. Do your own poll on toilet paper hoarding or whatever, and kind of come up with fun things to do, just to send out newsletters. We're thinking of you, or an email. We're just thinking of you. You know, here's this. And so it's off topic, but it's kind of just, we know you're there and we recognize that it's difficult. We're all in this together. That kind of thing. And if you hear of something somebody's doing in their home, and you might just say, hey, this is being done. Here's an idea of somebody's doing that in the home.
Here's a couple of good ideas.
Good.
One, that they're recognizing the top 2 guest teachers, maybe the same way they would have done if everybody were at the schools. They're still recognizing them, and the same way they would during Teacher Appreciation Week. And they can, you know, still send out a gift card to them. And then we had another one that said that they're doing gift cards, or considering doing gift cards, to the local grocery store. You know, they'll have to pay out of pocket for that for them, but that's a nice gesture to make.
If I can jump in really quick, this is Jessica, and I got a card in the mail. I've kind of had a difficult time knowing how to communicate with the substitute teachers on our list. All of a sudden, they're not getting paychecks when they're used to getting paychecks, and it's been hard for me to know what to say. And so we've reached out with a few things, and I got a card in the mail from a substitute teacher in Idaho saying, I just want you to know the fact that you take the time to reach out to us means so much to me. We're starting to feel isolated and separate from the rest of the world. And so even just a note of, hey, we're thinking about you. Thank you for all you've done through the school year. Will go a long way.
Good comment. Yeah.
I like that. I've seen a couple here that are talking about doing something for the substitutes at the end of the year. And that may be the only time where they could actually gather people together to do that. But I like what Jessica said, because, you know, you want to reach out now. You want to keep that connection with them. Let them know that you are still thinking about them.
I have one comment there too, Jeff. I think one reason why I think that it's important as well to do, like Jessica said and Kelly's saying, is if these substitutes find other positions between now and next school year, you're going to have a lot of work to do to find more. So by keeping in touch with them, it'll help them feel, you know, appreciated and know that the school district wants to work with them still. So I think anything you can do to keep those communication with them and help them know that you guys do care about them will be helpful for when the time comes to start hiring and filling in for the full-time teachers with the subs. That this would be a helpful thing now that you could do early to help not have to do so much work later when the school year starts.
Good comment. Good comment. Yeah, maybe the question a follow-up question I'm gonna ask is, what would you like to do? We've been asking, what are you doing? What would you like to do? What are some ideas you think would be good that you've maybe been thinking, oh, I might try this. So let's just put them out there. Yeah.
Felicia Phillips said, we've gotten gift cards donated from fast food establishments that we send out during Sub Appreciation Week.
What?
That is a fantastic idea, Felicia. If you can call, especially because now people can't even go to the stores, right? They can't go to the restaurants and everything's online. You know, all the ordering so much is going online right now for the time being. That may be a great place to contact some of your local stores, restaurants, and ask them if they're willing to donate some gift certificates to your substitutes.
Good. Good. So I would love to hold a conference for all instead of a meeting with them in smaller groups during the summer. Yeah. Well, okay, SubWeek canceled, meaning you can still do it, but it's harder to do it than in the school when the school isn't happening. For example, we encourage, because it's a week, that schools do things to welcome them when they or recognize them during the week. Not everybody's going to be working on the Wednesday of SubWeek, and so every day you're recognizing the substitutes, because over the course of the week, most likely most substitutes would be getting in the class, getting into school. So that kind of thing. If what's happening in the schools can't happen this year, then what do we do? And May, I don't know. You know, our schools here in the state of Utah, the stay-at-home is effective through end of April. But I'm wondering if they're going to still continue. We've heard of a number of school closures for the rest of the year. I don't know how many of you are planning on that, but that's why if they do open back up, then maybe some of these things we can do.
Just to jump in quickly, I'm guessing that maybe some are not comfortable knowing how to host a webinar. And if you would like to host a webinar for your substitute teachers, reach out to us and we can help you or co-host with you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, because we've got this. We're paying for this with Zoom, and it's unlimited. And even though you can set up your free one, Jam, you could probably chime in on how to set up a free Zoom webinars and how to do that. But we'd be glad to help you with that.
Yeah, we'd be happy to do that. If anyone has interest in there, definitely do even a little video or something to show everyone how to do it quickly. So if that's of interest, we can definitely do that.
We're kind of doing that for our neighborhood. We're doing little videos just to get our neighborhoods together, and so we can share and get some of those who are shut in so they don't feel like they're so isolated. All right. If you come up with an idea, you're still welcome to chime in on the chat, and so we can get that recorded. Jess, do you want to talk about this?
Yes, sorry, it takes me a second to find the mute button every time. So we still have our spring giveaway. Every spring and fall, we do a giveaway. It's still happening. It's at steady.org/giveaway. We're giving away gift cards and an Apple Watch. We would still encourage you to send out an email to your substitute teachers and invite them to register for the giveaway. And then if you go to the next slide, we also have, I think we have a certificate of appreciation that you can download, fill in, and send to your substitute teachers. We know it feels like really uncertain whether the school year will pick back up or maybe we're done for the year. We're not sure. Either way, we'd love for you to recognize and say thank you to the substitute teachers who helped you throughout the school year. So this, and we can put the link so you can just click on it at steady.org/webinars. But there is a certificate of appreciation for you to download, edit, and send to your subs.
Yeah, that's a resource that Jessica put together. We appreciate that, Jess. This is good. And a number of people have downloaded this and are using this. So hopefully everybody on this call can take advantage of that. And it'll be on the handouts and you can be able to copy that and type that in with that. So in your chat feature, what do you want to talk about next week? And we can just get together and brainstorm. Have you thought any topics?
We've had some ideas. It'll be interesting to see what these folks would like to hear about.
Right. I know on a webinar, there's supposed to be not a pause. You shouldn't be pausing, but we're going to have blank time for people.
But we teach our sub teachers that a pause is okay. Give
Right.
people time to think. That was it, Dolores. Ask, pause, call method.
Yep. Yeah, you know the material.
Should we call on Dolores then?
Yeah, there you go. Good. Well, training is a good possibility. I think we can definitely talk about that. That's good. Maybe we don't talk about that enough. Awesome. We'll talk
Ronnie
about that.
suggested about how do we keep them engaged during the shutdown. It's a good topic.
Okay.
Distance learning training. Hey, we're good at that.
This might be a good time to bring up. We are working on putting together a course to train substitute teachers on best practices for distance learning and how to engage students via Zoom, via an online course. That will be available in the next couple of weeks. We're putting it together as quickly as we can as we're pivoting to a new era of teaching.
Tanya and Jessica are working on that. Tanya has a master's in distant learning. Instructional design.
And she's been working for a university in distance learning for, I think, six plus years.
So between her and Jess, they're putting that together. That's good. That'll be really good. Okay, those are some good ideas. We appreciate that. We want to thank you for participating. And as you can see, you're getting more, just as much or more out of what is being commented on by all the participants than we are here. We want to make sure that you have access to this, and we will post that probably within about 3 hours. We'll have it posted on steady.org/webinars, and you can see the video again, and then you can also have that available to download these comments. So you've got it. And Jessica said, kind of put the question out so we know what comments are going with which questions. Here's the contact information for Sam, Kelly, and Jessica if you need to reach out to any one of them, and their email addresses. You're welcome to shoot us an email and ask us and talk to us at any time with what is happening. Kelly works from home. Sam is working from home, even though he lives only about a mile away from here. He's working from home. I'm between here and home, mostly here. They're doing some work on the building, so I'm here to help to supervise that. So, and Jessica's here in the office, but we're all still at work. We can help whatever we can do. And we do appreciate you attending here today. And thank you. And we hope you have a safe and an enjoyable week. And we will put out a notice for a webinar in a week from now. And hopefully you'll come back and participate with us then a week from now. So thank you again. And I'm going to pause. I'll leave the chat open so you can still make any comments for a few more minutes. We don't want to cut that off too soon, and we want to make sure we get it copied and downloaded before we close the webinar. So thank you very much and have a good day.